Welcome to Walshy's Travels. We're on a European train adventure, visiting 5 cities in 15 days with a 2-year-old. This morning we're on our way to Berlin, where we'll be staying for 3 nights.
Well, we've made it to Amsterdam Central Station. We're just about to head on our train to Berlin. And we're just going to get Henry something to eat for breakfast.
After grabbing some food for Henry, we had about 45 minutes to wait before our train arrived.
I can't find our train on there yet, but hopefully it should be on there soon. Lots of Christmas lights are still up here at Amsterdam Central. So we made it to Amsterdam after a slightly early start. We had to get up around about 6 o'clock, which is not too early for me normally, but on holiday it probably is. We ended up getting a taxi at around about 8:30, and we're here at about 9 o'clock in the morning. Our train is around about 10, hopefully. Hopefully it's not delayed. I know that the DB trains have a bit of a reputation for delays and cancellations, so hopefully we get none of that today. But we should arrive in Berlin in around about 5.5 hours. It's the longest journey of this trip, but hopefully we can relax in first class and hopefully Henry behaves as well. So there's a few people fishing out here just in front of the Amsterdam Central Station. I'm not sure what they catch around here, but obviously it's a good fishing spot because there's 3 people already quite early in the morning. I'm not sure if I'd actually eat the fish that's in here with all the boat traffic and being so close to the city. I'm not sure how pristine the water would be. As you can see, there's plenty of ferry traffic going from one side of the river to the other. And there's always a pancake shop every probably 100 metres in Amsterdam, either pancakes or stroopwafels. So I'm just heading back to the terminal now, just about to get Kat and Henry and Julie and make our way to the platform. When you're walking around Amsterdam, one thing you've got to be aware of is the bike lanes. You can get caught if you're not watching what you're doing and potentially get run over.
Shortly after boarding the train, a man shouted at some pickpockets who were targeting a couple of tourists in first class at the end of the carriage. The train attendant later mentioned that pickpockets regularly target passengers in first class when they are distracted while boarding the train. Luckily, nothing was stolen, and we tried to settle into our comfy seats while Henry slept all the way to Berlin. Well, that dream lasted about 12 seconds. Henry was wide awake, buzzing with energy and expecting to be entertained. About half an hour into the journey, the attendant came over to take our orders. As it was only 10:30, I ordered a coffee. We'd stocked up on some healthy snacks for Henry, as well as some unhealthy snacks for ourselves. We'd heard that sometimes the restaurant carriage is closed or not fully stocked at times. However, everything was open on our train. The guy sitting next to us brought back a German lager from the bar carriage. We tried to order a beer using the QR code, but it never arrived. So we decided to walk to the bar to grab a beer for the journey.
You can find freight on both routes. You go downstairs for that way.
I received an email from DB warning us that our final destination at Berlin Hauptbahnhof had been cancelled. The screen on the train also showed Berlin crossed out. I'd read a lot about DB cancelling trains, but I wasn't expecting them to cancel mid-journey. Luckily, we were sitting next to a couple of train enthusiasts who let us know that they had simply changed platform. We arrived at Berlin Hauptbahnhof, which is a really impressive station. It's very modern, there's plenty of space, and there's plenty of places to grab a coffee or some food. The only downside is the lifts, which were very slow and some didn't seem to work. Julie caught a lift with Henry, while Kat and I went down the escalators. We were all exhausted after a long journey, so we headed to the taxi rank and caught a cab to our hotel, in what was once East Berlin near Checkpoint Charlie. The next morning, we caught an Uber to the Reichstag building.
We're currently at the Reichstag building and we're about to go through security.
To enter the Reichstag, you need to apply to the German government and show security a letter confirming that you have permission to enter. You have to submit the names and dates of birth for everyone in your group, and you need to bring your passport. And this is the Reichstag, Germany's parliament building. Built in the 1890s, bombed, burned, rebuilt, and now topped with a glass dome that you can walk inside. The original building opened in 1894 after a decade of construction and became one of Berlin's most important landmarks. It has survived the infamous 1933 fire and heavy damage during World War II. Inside the dome, a mirrored cone reflects daylight down into the parliamentary chamber to reduce energy use.
The dome was designed by Norman Foster and the construction was completed in 1999. So we're going to go up now, walk up the top of the dome and have a look at the viewpoints of Berlin. And we're walking up the dome. Henry's very excited.
At the bottom of the cone, there's a display showing a chronological history of the dome. The dome offers a 360-degree view of Berlin and is one of the city's most popular free attractions. While a number of sites on the internet charge for entry, there is no need to pay anything if you apply direct through the official website.
And we've made it up to the top. So we're at the top of the Reichstag Dome, and I didn't know this, but it's actually open air at the top.
If you're in Berlin, make time for the dome. You get great views, history, and some really interesting architecture. There's a restaurant next to the dome, and if you have a reservation, you can also access the dome. We went for a walk in the Tiergarten opposite the Reichstag, hoping to find a playground for Henry. Tiergarten is a huge leafy park in the heart of the city. However, much of the park was either under maintenance or cordoned off in preparation for the New Year's Eve celebrations. We were all freezing in the wind, so we decided to make our way back to the city centre to warm up and grab something to eat.
And from the front you can see the Brandenburg Gates.
Hotel Adlon is Berlin's most famous luxury hotel and located right beside the Brandenburg Gate. It survived most of World War II, only to be destroyed by a fire in 1945, reportedly started by drunken soldiers. During the Cold War, its ruins stood in no man's land next to the Berlin Wall, but in the 1990s it was rebuilt, inspired by the original design. If you like cake and are visiting Berlin, this is a must-stop. We all agreed they were the best cakes we've eaten, particularly the chocolate cake. After visiting some tat shops, we headed to the Nantek restaurant for some pork knuckle and beer. After eating a kilo of pork, we slowly walked toward the Palace of Tears. Kat and Julie continued to be distracted by the tat shops along the way. The smell of currywurst was tempting me, but I was still suffering the meat sweats from the pork knuckle at lunch. We eventually arrived at the Palace of Tears. It's a former Cold War border crossing, a Friedrichstrasse station, where families said their goodbyes between East and West Berlin. Today it's a small but interesting museum that walks you through the real stories of division, reunification, and the everyday moments of life in a divided Berlin. Visitors can even walk through original passport booths. The museum preserves authentic checkpoint structures, so you can experience the border process firsthand. Its nickname came from tearful goodbyes. Families were often separated here because East German residents weren't allowed to travel west, leading to many emotional farewells. After the Palace of Tears, we caught an Uber back to the hotel.
Got everything?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Happy New
You too.
Year.
The next morning, we caught a taxi to the DDR Museum.
Go on, throw it at Daddy.
It had started to snow quite a bit, so Kat and Henry sheltered under a nearby building, and I braved the elements to check if the museum was open. To get down to the museum, you have to walk down some stairs and enter from the path next to the river. The stairs were covered in ice and snow, but we were able to make our way down without incident. The DDR Museum gives you a hands-on look at everyday life in East Germany. Not the big political events, but the real stuff people lived with. You can step inside a recreated flat, open cupboards, flick through old newspapers, even sit in a Trabant. It's interactive and one of the best places in Berlin to get a feel for what life was actually like behind the wall.
Oh, eggs! What else can you see?
A tip for parents is to arrive at opening time. Henry had the place to himself and was able to take time to explore without being rushed. However, the museum was much busier by the time we left.
Look at this.
Booze and cigs were big in the East,
You have a look at that.
but not as big as the boss.
Meinungsaustausch Erich Honeckers mit dem FDP-Fraktion.
Who wouldn't want to work under a big portrait of Erich Honecker watching your every move? You can even visit a recreated Stasi interrogation room. For Henry, the highlight was driving a Trabant.
Say hi to Daddy.
Hey,
There he is. Hello.
we like it.
You can sit inside an actual Trabant that has been converted into a driving simulator. I hope my insurance company's not watching this. Our next stop was a coffee shop, before heading toward Potsdamer Platz for the Christmas markets. The Berlin Cathedral is across the river from the DDR Museum. The area around the DDR Museum contains a number of museums and cultural buildings. We didn't have time to visit, but the buildings looked impressive in the snow. We spotted a Christmas market opposite the Lustgarten and decided to check it out. Most of the food stalls were still setting up for the day. However, Henry wanted to build a snowman, so we looked for a quiet spot in the courtyard. We decided that we'd come back later that night to grab some dinner from one of the stalls, then continued on our way to Potsdamer Platz. This is the memorial to the murdered Jews of Europe. It's a huge field of concrete blocks right in the center of Berlin, designed to make you slow down and reflect. It was bitterly cold, so we looked for the next cafe to sit down in and warm up, and maybe grab a beer. I ordered a currywurst, which is sausage covered in a tangy curry spice ketchup. We couldn't leave without buying a couple of cakes to take back to our hotel. At Potsdamer Platz, you can see sections of the Berlin Wall covered in chewing gum. Apparently, visitors started sticking gum on the wall, and over time it turned into an unofficial tradition. After checking out the wall, we walked across to the Christmas markets. The markets contained all the usual food and drinks: mulled wine, pretzels, crepes, sausages and sweets. For us, there was less atmosphere than other markets we've visited. Maybe because of the modern buildings, but it could have been the time of day. Henry was obsessed with merry-go-rounds on this trip, and this was no exception. We ended up spending a small fortune on rides, as he wanted to try the different cars and trucks. The Glühwein was really good, and we kept the glass mugs as a souvenir. There's even a snow tubing run in the markets. However, Henry was still a bit too young. Maybe next time. After a short rest back at the hotel, we walked around the corner to Checkpoint Charlie. The location of the Berlin Wall is marked with a line of bricks and a plaque. Across the road from Checkpoint Charlie, there is an area showing displays detailing the history of the Berlin Wall and the checkpoint. The displays tell the stories of the people who attempted to escape over the wall, some who were successful, while many others tragically died attempting to escape into West Berlin. Checkpoint Charlie was once the most famous border crossing between East and West Berlin. It was the spot where American and Soviet tanks faced off in 1961 and where countless travellers passed through during the Cold War. Today it's a small guardhouse replica, museum displays and a busy street corner, but with plenty of history. We arrived at the Gendarmenmarkt Christmas market. The market was impressive and had the best atmosphere of all the Christmas markets we visited. There were so many food options available, from sit-down restaurants to the usual sausages and Spätzle. Spätzle is a traditional German egg noodle, soft, chewy, and a little bit rustic. It's made from a simple dough of eggs, flour and salt, then scraped or pressed into boiling water to form these little irregular noodles. You'll find it all over southern Germany, especially in Swabia and Bavaria, often served with gravy or turned into Käsespätzle, which is basically Germany's version of mac and cheese. Even the dunnies are festive. Even though it was New Year's Eve, it wasn't too crowded and there were plenty of families enjoying the festivities.
the best I could do is like being obviously on your side, but being nice.
The Oettinger beer tent was tempting, but we headed on to the next market that we'd visited earlier in the day. We made our way to the Christmas market at the Humboldt Forum. The market is known for its Berliner Feiertongs punch, which is a hot punch with flambéed sugarloaf. The freshly prepared salmon, cooked over an open flame, looked amazing. There are also plenty of rides to keep the kids entertained, including a merry-go-round for Henry. The market is set in front of the reconstructed Berlin Palace and inside the Schlüterhof courtyard. It's almost like two Christmas markets in one. The facades are illuminated with custom video animations, designed specifically for this Christmas market. What's your favourite Christmas market? Let me know in the comments. We decided to head back to the hotel to put Henry to bed and enjoy a peaceful New Year's Eve in Berlin. Join us next time as we travel to Prague on New Year's Day for 3 nights. Please remember to like, subscribe and share.